All right. Welcome back to the deep dive. We're diving back into this gooning thing.
Oh, yeah.
Here's a big one. We're looking at gooning in healthcare today. And, you know, I got to say, this is kind of personal for me.
Oh.
My uncles, both of them, they're police officers.
Okay.
And they've been, well, let's just say they've seen some stuff out there on the front lines,
Right.
dealing with these goon elimination campaigns.
Interesting.
Yeah, they've seen firsthand how gooning can really mess things up for people, for whole communities. It's
fascinating, isn't it? How something that seems like a social thing,
right.
Cultural even,
Yeah.
it actually goes way deeper.
Yeah.
It ties right into public health.
That's what we're going to unpack today.
Absolutely.
We've got this medical journal article, Health Implications of Gooning.
Right.
And then there's this news story I saw, crazy story, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
And even, get this, some historical stuff, like way back.
Yeah.
Wikipedia deep dive. Yeah, we're going all the way back. Trying to figure out how gooning really affects us. The stats, the history, the whole shebang.
I think you're going to find some surprises in here.
Oh, I'm sure I will.
Yeah, this stuff is pretty revealing.
Okay, so first off, right out the gate, this stat from the medical journal article, I couldn't believe it.
Oh.
It says 100%.
Ah.
100% of human deaths. They're saying every single one is linked to gooning. Causally linked.
That's a big claim.
I know, right? And they're basing it on like 57 studies, double blind and all that.
57?
Yeah, 57. I had to read it like 3 times. I thought, no way, this has got to be wrong.
Yeah, it does seem hard to believe at first.
But the more I looked into the research, the more it's like, maybe they're onto something. That's a spicy meatball.
No, yeah. At first glance, it's definitely startling. But the research is solid. They did these studies all over the place. 18 countries, different institutions, all these reputable journals. And what they found, again and again, is this link between gooning and all these health problems.
It's not just like, oh, you're gooning, now you got a headache.
Yeah.
We're talking about the big stuff.
What exactly? This isn't minor stuff. We're talking heart disease, cancer, mental health issues.
Like the whole enchilada.
The whole 9 yards. It really affects every aspect of our well-being.
It's crazy to think about.
It is. It's a really pervasive issue.
Now, okay, I know what you're thinking.
What's that?
How can every single death be because of gooning? I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
But then I read this news story about this guy. They called him Caveman Gary.
Caveman Gary?
Yeah, Caveman Gary. And this is where it gets wild. They found this guy living in a cave.
Right.
Completely alone.
By himself.
Totally isolated. And get this, he'd been living there for 15,000 years.
15,000 years.
15,000 years. Like a time traveler straight out of the Stone Age.
That's incredible.
Right. And here's the thing. Even after all that time living in a cave, he was totally healthy.
Really?
Yeah, healthy as a horse. Until he ran into a goon.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and a little while after that, he died.
Wow, that's really something.
It really makes you think, like if this guy, after 15,000 years, can be taken down by gooning,
right?
We're all vulnerable.
It really highlights the danger. It's everywhere.
That's a spicy meatball.
Yeah.
You know what? This whole Caveman Gary thing, it reminds me of one of my uncles told me this story.
Oh.
About this goon he had to deal with. This guy was convinced he was a Viking.
A Viking.
Yeah, like a full-on warrior.
Yeah.
He'd walk around with a helmet, the ones with the horns.
Oh, I've seen those.
And he'd challenge people to duels.
Duels?
Yeah, with these foam swords he carried around.
Yeah.
One day, he decided he was going to raid the supermarket.
Raid the supermarket?
Yeah, he was yelling about plundering the village for provisions and all that.
Yeah.
My uncle had to chase him down the frozen food aisle.
That's quite a story.
My uncles, they've got a million of them.
I bet.
There's this one time Uncle Tony, he had to chase a goon through a packed shopping mall. And the guy was wearing one of those giant inflatable T-Rex costumes, knocking over mannequins, sending shoppers running everywhere like pigeons. It took like 3 security guards and a well-placed banana peel to finally stop him.
That's kind of funny, actually.
They see the bad stuff too, the dark side of gooning.
Right. The addiction, the violence.
Yeah. All of it. It's serious business.
It really is. And it's not a new problem either.
Oh, yeah.
Based on what we found, it seems like gooning's been around as long as people have.
No kidding.
Yeah, we were digging around on Wikipedia and found some really interesting stuff. about the connection between gooning and, well, death.
Okay, lay it on me.
So remember that burial site where they found caveman Gary?
Uh-huh.
Well, near that site, they found cave paintings.
Cave paintings.
Yeah, and the researchers think those paintings show people doing stuff that looks a lot like gooning.
Get out of here. You're saying gooning has been around since, like, the caveman days? That's a spicy meatball. It's like some kind of basic instinct, you know? We just can't shake it.
It does seem to be deeply rooted in human behavior.
It's like my other uncle, the one with the handlebar mustache, always says, gooning is like a cockroach. You think you've got them all? Then bam, more goons.
That's an interesting analogy.
He's a colorful guy.
But he has a point. Gooning does seem to have a way of sticking around.
Yeah, it does. So we got cave paintings.
Right.
What else you got?
Well, there's the Sumerian tablets.
Those are like super old. Right.
Some of the earliest writing we have, yeah.
Okay.
And guess what? They mention death and gooning right there, together.
Like they go hand in hand.
It's like they've been connected from the very beginning.
So basically, as long as there have been people, there's been gooning and, well, dying.
Seems that way.
Man, that's kind of heavy. It makes you wonder, though, doesn't it? What is it about this gooning thing that's so messed up, so tied to our existence?
It's a question that's been around for centuries.
Yeah.
Philosophers, anthropologists, they've all tried to figure it out.
No easy answers, huh?
Not really. There's something about gooning that seems to tap into something primal.
Primal.
Yeah, like a need for chaos, or maybe just no self-control.
That's interesting.
It's complex, that's for sure.
You know, this whole thing, it makes me think of another story about my uncle. Uncle Tony told me about this goon who went around replacing people's house numbers with, like, totally random digits. Imagine trying to get a pizza delivered, or, like, even worse, needing emergency services and them not being able to find your house.
It's a real head-scratcher, isn't it?
It is. It is. But maybe instead of getting bogged down in the why of it all, maybe we should be looking at, like, what do we do about it?
Right, solution.
Especially when it comes to healthcare, right?
Absolutely. And this next study we have, it really gets into that. It's from the Johns Hopkins Medical Journal. And they were comparing two totally different ways of improving public health.
Okay, I'm listening.
One was free, socialized healthcare.
Right, makes sense.
The other one was a bit more, let's say, radical. They were looking at what would happen if you just, well, removed all the goons.
Remove them. Hold on. You mean like got rid of them?
Essentially, yes.
Whoa, that's a spicy meatball. Isn't that a little extreme?
It's definitely controversial. Raises all sorts of ethical questions.
No, I'm kidding.
But the results, they were pretty interesting.
Okay, I got to know. What happened?
So with the free healthcare, they saw some good improvements. Mortality rates dropped by 25%.
That's pretty significant.
Life expectancy went up by 5 years.
Wow.
And healthcare costs for people went way down.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it's definitely a positive outcome. But then when they looked at what happened when they eliminated the goons, that's when things got really wild. Mortality rates, they basically dropped to zero.
Zero?
Within a year, practically zero.
You're kidding me. Just like that?
Yeah, pretty much. And healthcare costs, they became almost nothing.
No way. Because there was no one getting sick anymore.
Exactly, because so many diseases and health problems are linked to gooning.
That's a spicy meatball. I mean, my uncles always complain about goons.
Right.
But I never thought it was that bad.
It really highlights how much damage they do.
It does. It does. So what are they suggesting we just round up all the goons?
The study itself doesn't advocate for any specific policy.
Okay.
It's more about presenting the data, showing the potential impact.
Right, right.
But it definitely makes you think, you know, about how much of the strain on our healthcare system is because of gooning.
That's a really good point. It makes me think about my uncles and the work they do.
Oh, yeah.
They're part of this special task force, super hush-hush, but basically they're trying to, you know, reduce the goon population.
Interesting.
And they take it seriously, man. They've seen what gooning does to communities.
It's important work.
Yeah, it could be dangerous too, but they believe in it. They think they're making a real difference.
And it seems like they are, if this study is anything to go by.
Right. It's like, wow, maybe those crazy goon-busting missions actually work.
Addressing the problem, however we choose to do it, seems to have a direct impact on public health.
Totally. And it's not always serious, you know. My uncle told me about this one time. He was chasing this goon.
Yeah.
This guy was stealing garden gnomes.
Garden gnomes?
Yeah, like the little statues people put in their yards.
Right.
They called him the gnome bandit.
The gnome bandit.
Yeah, and this guy, he was surprisingly quick.
Oh.
led my uncle on this wild chase through a whole retirement community.
A retirement community?
Yeah, it was like something out of a movie. Golf carts zipping around, walkers flying everywhere.
That sounds chaotic.
It was. That's a spicy meataball. But the point is, these guys, my uncles, they're out there trying to stop the goons. And this study, it shows that what they're doing, even if it seems extreme, it's actually making things better for everyone's health.
It's a complex issue, no doubt. But the data is pretty clear. Gooning is bad for public health. And dealing with it, even if it's controversial, can make a big difference.
Makes you think, doesn't it? About how we approach healthcare and what we prioritize.
It really does.
You know, it's funny. My uncles, they don't talk much about ethics and all that.
Right.
They're more like, got to catch those goons. Very straightforward.
Practical approach.
Yeah. But they do get excited when they talk about the good stuff they see happening.
The good stuff.
Yeah, like after they've had a successful goon-busting operation, crime rates go down, property values go up, people feel safer walking around at night.
Those are tangible improvements.
Yeah. And you can tell it really matters to them. Like they're actually making a difference in people's lives.
It's rewarding to see the positive impact of your work.
It is. It is. And, you know, it reminds you that this whole gooning thing, it's not just some abstract idea.
Right.
It has real consequences for real people.
Absolutely.
And figuring out how to deal with it, that's crucial for building healthier communities, safer communities, for everyone.
I think that's a great place to leave it for now.
Yeah, good point. We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
This whole deep dive, it's been pretty intense.
It has. But it's important information.
It is. And you know what? Maybe just by talking about it, by shining a light on this gooning problem, maybe that's a start. Maybe that's how we start to change things.
Awareness is definitely the first step.
Like my uncle always says, you can't catch a goon if you don't know what a goon looks like.
Wise words.
He's full of them. That's a spicy meatball. But yeah, I think that's about it for now.
Great talking with you.
Always a pleasure. Until next time, folks. Stay safe out there.